Go that way really fast. If something gets in your way, turn.
Want to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Master the Art of Connecting and professional speaker Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on the planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another spectacular, fantastic, unbelievable, spectacularly crazy episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have the founder of One Call Closers, a sales agency that has now worked with influencers such as Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins, and others to help scale their online offers to $1 million a month online. It's kind of crazy. In the span of 3 years, One Call Closers has sold over $40 million in the digital product space and has built over 13 seven-figure sales teams. That's a lot of numbers, listeners, if you're keeping track. He is known as the acquisition king in the high-ticket space. Thrive Loud listeners, Richard Mugica. Richard, how are you today?
What's up, Louie? That was a great intro, man. You made me sound way better than I actually am, but I love it.
Well, I highly doubt that because I think you're absolutely fantastic. And we're going to educate our listeners a little bit about you. This is what I like to do, Richard. I don't want to go all the way to the womb. I kind of want to rewind to the point that This became your gig. How did this become your gig, the thing you do now?
Oh, geez, man. It is. Yeah, that's a long story, but I guess to condense it, a lot of it was luck in life, man. So I was working for my dad in a job I absolutely hated. Right. And we all know that story. I was a glorified truck driver at the time.
Yep.
Hated it, had 2 kids, knew I had to get out of it. And so I just told my wife one day, hey, I'm going to quit. I'm tired of it. We'll figure something out and we'll make something happen. Right. And so I put my 2 weeks in with my dad, not really having a real plan, but I knew I could make something happen, like that.
I'm glad your dad gave you 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, that kind of story. Right. And where the luck part kind of fell into place is I remember I was on Indeed. I was looking at jobs. And I saw one ad post that said, hey, man, we're looking for a fitness guy that loves life, wants to change the world. And, we're looking for this guy. So I said, hey, that sounds like me. Right. So I scheduled an interview. They scheduled an interview with me. It's with Jasmine. Me and Jasmine kind of hit it off. She says, hey, I'm going to schedule you with an interview with my boss named Bedros Keuilian. And I don't know if you know who Bedros Keuilian is, Louis. Have you ever heard of him?
I don't, but keep going.
Great.
It sounds familiar, but I'm not. It's not clicking right now.
So I'm thinking, Bedros is like a little short Mexican dude, right? So I get into the interview with Bedros, and sure enough, man, I got chills running down my arms, XYZ, because he starts telling me like, hey, man, where do you come from? What do you do? Hey, man, I was working for my dad. I got to the online thing. I watch guys like Vince Del Monte, Elliot Hulse, all these influencers, Dean Graziosi, whatever. He's like, oh, man, a lot of those guys are in my coaching programs. And I'm like, what do you mean they're in their coaching programs? He's like, oh, yeah, I run a mastermind. It's, $50,000 for the year, XYZ. And man, I can't tell you, Lou, I had chills running down my arms. I was like, holy crap, how did I come across this guy? And so we hit it off. He offered me a job for his company. And I said, hey, absolutely, man, I got to be around this guy. And that was my introduction, Lou, into sales. I didn't even know what job he was going to put me in, to be honest with you. I just knew I had to be around this guy. This guy's a badass. I want to be around this guy. And by the way, with my dad, I was barely getting by. I was making $40,000 a year in LA. Like barely could pay bills, like just barely getting by, right? And so Bedros got me into high ticket sales. And he said, hey, man, first day on the job, he's like, hey, dude, you know how to sell? I said, dude, not really, but we'll figure it out. He's like, hey, come to my office. So he kind of draws a straight line on the board. He says, hey, man, here's the sale. It's a straight line. You're going to ask some questions. You're going to lead the prospect down the line. And you're going to say, hey, credit card or debit card. Which one do you want to do? And that was my first sales training, man. And then he said, hey, on Monday, I'm going to email out. You're going to get calls booked, and it's your job to close them. And So from there, I learned sales, took a ton of sales calls. I did that for about 3 years with Bedros. So I went from basically no sales experience. Then 3 years in, I became the manager of his partner company, which is Fit Body Bootcamp International. Had over 400 franchises nationwide. I had a sales team of 6 under me. We were selling like 15 to 25 franchises a month, right?
Wow.
And we're just crushing it. Then I got the entrepreneurial itch. So I ended up leaving Bedros, kept good ties with Bedros. I said, hey, I'm going to go start my own gym business, which was a Fit Body Bootcamp. I said, hey, I sell Fit Body Bootcamps. I like the model. I'm going to go start a Fit Body Bootcamp. So I said, hey, B, I'm going to go become an entrepreneur. You always encourage that. It's my time to shine, right? And so I opened up a Fit Body, left Bedros. I was making $250,000 a year. So I went from 40,000 a year, then got into sales. Bedros changed my life, mentored me. Then I went to $250,000 a year in income. And then I left that to then become an entrepreneur and, you know, start my gym business, XYZ. And so I start the gym, but sure enough, and the way I started the gym, I had to mortgage out of our house. So I took a $140,000 loan. At the time, I had about 40,000, 45,000 saved up from my job. So I drained that. I drained the 140,000 in the loan that I took out of my house. We started the gym and it didn't go so well. We were barely surviving, barely getting by. Then COVID hit. And
it was really hard to survive.
Really
and get by,
survive. And then it's like, dude, so we got pretty much wiped out. That business failed, essentially. And to kind of rewind a little bit, before it failed, I knew that I had to do something because now I had nothing in my bank account. I remember this conversation with my wife. I had $1,500 in my bank account, Lou, right? So I went from 40,000 a year, $250,000 a year, had a cozy life, you know, saving stuff, then became an entrepreneur, drained everything, took out the loans. Then I was left with $1,500 in my bank account. I had 3 kids at the time. And I never forget my wife, like, you know, chatting this day. She's like, hey, what are we going to do? Like, what the hell? Like, she started crying. I'm like, man, I got to figure something out. So that day I said, you know what, babes, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call Robbie Blanchard. And Robbie Blanchard was a contact that I got from Bedros. And I knew this guy needed help selling, and selling is something I knew how to do. So I said, hey, Robbie, you need help selling? He got back to me within a minute, Lou. And he said, Rich, let's get on the phone and chat. He said, dude, I need help selling. Can you start selling on Monday? This was on a Thursday. And I said, dude, absolutely. Just get me on the phone. Give me leads. I'll make it happen. So that Monday I start, and that's how my whole journey began. That was my first client, Robbie Blanchard. And then from there, we scaled a sales team. And I said, hey, man, I could do this for more people. And then we got, you know, Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins. And we just kept on going. And
phenomenal. I'm going to let you breathe and take an oxygen here. Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, by the way, just some couple of notes here. We had Vince Del Monte on the show. What a spectacular dude, and an unbelievable story, an incredible entrepreneur. And I felt like I needed to started to lift certain things as I'm talking to you. I think I'm going to have like the guys Lou sees and says, shit, I got to get to the gym type of guests on the show. And they're all like this, all fit, buff, excited, and very passionate about what they do with an energy level that's just incredible. So shout out here.
I appreciate that.
Secondly, let's talk about these high ticket items that you're helping people sell. Maybe give an explanation about what you're selling for some of these thought leaders, these folks, and the programs that they're like. I know they're all different, each and every one of them, but help paint that picture to the listeners so the listeners can understand, hey, what is this type of platform that he's doing? And then we'll connect how One Call Closers is helping to make them thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in the digital product space, right? So anybody that's selling a digital product, and we work mainly in the internet space. So internet marketing, affiliate marketing products, e-commerce products, mindset coaching products, fitness products, real estate investing, even the crypto investing space. So anybody that has knowledge that's turned it into a digital product and they're looking to scale their customers, scale their acquisition. And then usually
and digital product being either a course or a program, something like that,
course,
right? Okay, yeah.
Mastermind coaching program or like a live event is basically our sweet spot. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So what do you do to target and find the right people to go after? Because look, it is a competitive landscape out there. There's lots of these great thought leaders. What are you doing, Rich, to get people to, one, get their attention, and two, what kind of messaging are you using to get them in? And you've been hand motioning with the phone. Are you eventually speaking to them, or it's a lot of digital communication and how you're drawing them in?
No, we're a closing company, man. So I could show you our calendars right now, Lou. We probably have over 200 calls a day, and
Wow.
we get on the phones and we're closing deals, right? Like this is what we, hence the, I don't know if you can see
One
it, but
call
the
closers.
one
Yeah.
call closers, right? Like this is what we do all day, every day, and it's what we're, obviously I'm going to be biased, right? It's what we're the best at.
Yeah.
And what I realize in the space, man, is there's a big disconnection gap between somebody selling something online, because you're an entrepreneur, right? And you have an idea, you want to sell something, and then most entrepreneurs, they start out, they'll sell the thing, right? And then they're like, well, dude, I don't want to keep selling the thing because that's taking my time and I can't focus on the content, the acquisition side, XYZ. So now I got to get closers. Well, that's great, but then how are you going to get the closers? Then how are you going to train the closers? Then how are you going to get the closers to perform? And then how are you going to build out the sales team? And then how are you going to get the sales manager? And then how are you going to do the scripting? And then it becomes a nightmare for most online companies, because it's like, great, I know my area of expertise, but I'm not like a closing expert. And then what they have to do is they have to rely on external factors of like, oh, should I hire this closer or should I hire that closer? And then like, who's going to lead these people? Like, how do I get them to perform? There's all these questions going through their head. And it's like, or you can just get one call closers, and then we come in and we take over all that for you, and we scale the crap. I don't want to cuss, but scale the crap.
You can cuss on this fucking show. You can do whatever you want, man. Come on.
Yeah. And then, we'll scale it from there. And the way I look at one call closers, man, I used to think, oh man, we're a sales company, right? Like acquisition sales. But what I realized, what our company truly is, Lou, it's a coaching company, right? It's a coaching and leadership company, because it's not that most people don't have the right talent on their sales team. It's that most people don't know how to cultivate that talent to get them to perform consistently, if that makes sense.
You've taken the philosophy of someone who knows how to train your body and be fitness, and come up with the system for how they need to be how they need to be closing. Now I want to hit you with this one, because this is an interesting. Today, it's tough to get people to pick up the phone. Let's call it what it is. I might not pick up a number unless I already have that number in my directory. And unfortunately, we get so many robocalls and calls from the IRS and some guy in Ethiopia who's looking to be saved from a prince of something that's out a lot of money. There's a lot of this stuff that's been going on over the last 2 decades. How do you get people to pick up the phone?
I think it's a information gap, to be honest with you. Like, the people that are the scariest to pick up the phone is because if somebody picks up the phone, they don't know what to say. They're like, oh shit, like, dude, this guy's on the phone. Like, okay, what do I do next? Right. And then it's like, well, and then what do I do in the conversation? What if the guy says this? How am I going to respond? Right. So it becomes a game of like, the reason why they're not excited to pick up the phone and dial is because they're not sure how the conversation is going to go. Right. And so what we do is we give them an element of predictability. Listen, we do this every day. So it's like, by the time we go to dial the phone number, we already know how the conversation is going to go. We've done this thousands of times. The person on the other line has never done it. So they don't know how the conversation is going to go, but we do, because we know we control every aspect of it. And that's like the thin line between somebody that wants to pick up the phone and somebody that's scared to pick up the phone. It's just that they're not sure how it's going to go. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, no, totally. And so now here's the fun part, right? So now they've got some of these items that you're selling these are large ticket items. They're as you call it, you're the high ticket master here. Yeah. So is there a difference between that low to mid range item versus the high ticket item in the communication that you're delivering at one call closers? Is there something different when the item is different?
100%. So your audience listening, you, Lou, like, there's front end programs and there's back end programs, right? So a front end program is designed to get a customer in the door, right? That might be a $47 ebook. That might be a webinar funnel where you're doing a 45-minute webinar and you're pitching a $997 program, right? So front end sales it takes a closer to be a little bit more aggressive on that call, because it's a lower price point. So you don't need to be as finesse to get somebody to say yes to a lower price point. And then B, most people, because they don't have the trust with you, like, when you're gaining a customer, what you're trying to gain is you're trying to gain their trust. Once you have their trust, it's easy to upsell the customer, right? Because they already believe in you, they already trust you, and we can sell higher end products on the back end. but the front end is the kicker, right? So front end closing is a lot more, not, I want to say aggressive, but you need to get somebody to take action. And a lot of times you got to get people past people's mental barriers, their informed beliefs about what success is, and their thoughts about, how they grew up with their parents and all this mumbo jumbo in their head. You got to get them past those fears. So that's why front end closing is a little bit more aggressive, and you got to stay in the close a little bit longer. Then when you have a customer, we sell back end programs, and those are anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000, depending on the program. And that takes a more of a finesse type of close, right? It's not like, hey man, you got to, stay in the close and try to, now you're really trying to have a conversation with Chuck, let him know, hey man, I'm here to really understand what you need, what you value, what you're looking for. Obviously we're going to stack the odds in our favor because we've had the conversation before. So we know how to kind of dictate, what's going to happen, but it's more of just a very genuine, authentic conversation you're having with another human being, and see if the value is going to match up to what they want. Right. And so
I got a good question. Who does one call closers say no to? Meaning, who doesn't fit into the offers that are out there? There's a lot of people that sell a lot of things, a lot of those programs. There must be a certain type of thing that you look at to say, this is a type of sale that not only we can make, but we can be successful with representing them.
Yep. Well, so Lou, if you go to our website, you'll see the types of people that we like to work with. And typically speaking, Lou, we like to work with what we call the influencers that are the top 5% in their marketplace. Yeah. Meaning that if I say the name, more than likely you're going to know who that person is, right? And that's kind of the thought leaders that we really love to work with. Now, if you're lower in numbers, let's just say you're doing anywhere from, I don't know what the numbers might be. It has nothing really to do with the numbers. It has to do with what their positioning is in the marketplace, if that makes sense. Because perception's reality, right? It doesn't matter how big Tony Robbins is. Everybody knows who Tony Robbins is, and his perception to people is he's bigger than life. And that perception online is important because the perception is the reality. So we really like to work with those influencers that are top 5% in their industry.
From driving your truck or whatever it was you were doing, not making enough money, we got to talk to Dad. I can only imagine what Thanksgiving was like. To failing in a business, to starting a business that's now thriving. First of all, how's your mindset doing with all this ups and downs, and what do you like every single morning when you get up?
So, I think that's the reason, Lou. Like I started. I didn't really even start. I don't even say I started One Call Closers. It kind of just fell into my lap. I was like, dude, I need to make money, and this is what I know how to do. So then we just start doing it. But honestly, Lou, like as you can maybe see with my passion, man, I love selling. Like there's not one aspect of selling that I do not like. And what I try to tell all of our team members is that there's 3 core beliefs that I live by, and one of those core beliefs is that I believe nothing good in life happens until a sale is made. And if you think about it, Lou, the only thing that's going to change your life and my life is a decision. Mm-hmm. And we're all just one decision away from literally a completely different life. And what closers do every single day is they get decisions. They get somebody to say either yes or no. It's not our job to get everybody to say yes. It's just our job to get a decision, whatever that decision may be. And so, but as soon as we get that yes, dude, we get fired up because we know we just gave John an opportunity to change his future forever, right? Yeah. And so that gets our company fired up. That gets me fired up. And that's why every day we're out there pounding the phones, getting on the phone, trying to, overcome obstacles and beliefs, because we know that the products we sell are changing people's lives every single day. And we love it.
I love asking guests this question. I am dying to know where this one goes. Listen, you've got a passion and energy, and I can see literally, I love that you love making the sale, which is great, which means on those days that you are thriving. But we all have those days when we're not quite kicking on all cylinders. We're a little off our game. Mm-hmm. Richard, when you have trouble thriving, what practice do you seek, or maybe which individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
I think I think, Lou, it's a great question, man. Because here's the reality is like when our closers aren't closing, it has nothing to do usually with the leads, with, you know, the marketplace. It usually has something to do with, oh man, I'm in an argument with my wife right now. Oh man, you know what? The kids are sick. And dude, I'm just like, I'm up late. It has to do with like life. Life happens, right? And then that deters you. So what I've noticed, man, and what helps me, Lou, and this might be the simplest answer maybe you ever hear, but it's just the consistency, right? Like just doing the same stuff every day. Like get up at the same time, go to bed at the same time. If you get up and you do a prayer, do the prayer, and then get your head right. And then if you go to the gym, go to the gym, and then just do the stuff consistently. Because I think consistency is way more important than motivation, right? Consistency breeds motivation. If you just do it consistently, your motivation starts kicking in. But the moment you stop doing it is when your motivation starts dying. So I just tell our closers, guys, just stay consistent. Just get up and just do the things you do every day, right? And then like I tell every one of our closers as well, I said, guys, when closing becomes fun is when closing becomes boring, right?
Yeah.
When me as an entrepreneur, Lou, when I'm in a boring phase of entrepreneurship, I love it because I know that I'm getting really good at it. Like that means I can do it in the back of I could do it while I'm sleeping, bro. Like I can have conversations with people, I can close people, I can sell. And guess what? Yeah, it's boring because I do it every day, but I like that. That means I'm like super good at it, you know?
I love it.
And so I don't know if that's the answer.
I love that. That is a great perspective, Rick, because it is interesting. Usually the answers to this question are people need to, get refocused, recentered, but your centering is a very good point. It's about the consistency of what you do every day. And it's the repetition of all that. And by the way, one of the expressions I use with a lot of the producers that I deal with is to get to know faster, right? Yeah. Because the dilly-dallying, your point about getting to a decision is such a vital thing, but helping people make those decisions, good or bad, gets you to a period. And then you know where that's been. You could check it off the box and you could keep moving forward.
100%.
But that consistency, whether you get a bunch of no's, a bunch of yeses, whatever it is, that rhythm, the rhythm all of a sudden creates the momentum, and the momentum creates the motivation, and the motivation creates the inspiration. You love that.
You said it better than me, Lou. You took those words.
Well, I just listened
better than me, but yeah, that's it, man. You're
that's spectacular. I just think, because trust me, I've had 800 some odd guests on this program, and that is one of the more unique ways of thinking about it. And I think a lot of times people think they need to get out of the regular flow to get back into it. Yours is about getting back into the flow. I love it. See, I love
and
it.
Same
Great
with when you're in a fun closing, I always tell my close, look, dude, because they try to add more stuff. Everybody tries to, hey, I need to do more. Hey, if I'm not, if it's not going well, let me add this, let me add that. I have the opposite philosophy. If it's not going well, start stripping everything away and just do the basics, right? Because the advanced is doing the basics really well. And if you can just do that, you'll get back on track. So I don't know.
Let's do this. So let's get the admin part out of the show. Let's get the admin part of the show out of the way. I don't know what that just came out of my mouth. Share with the listeners all the places people can learn about One Call Closers. Use this specific spelling or not. You can check it out in the show notes, listeners. You'll see what it is. It always gets more engagement, though, when they hear it from you.
Okay, great. I mean, hey, it's simple, man. If social media, it would be Richard_Mugica, my last name. That's my Instagram. That's a great place. Or just onecallclosers.com to learn more about what we do in the high ticket space. But
awesome.
That'd be the best part.
Listeners, that's one is in the number one. Callclosers.com as opposed to O-N-E.
Yeah,
just to be clear.
that's it.
That was what I was trying to get you to clarify, Rich. It's okay, man. It's like, like lunchtime for you, mid-afternoon for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you are so ready for this, but you're ready to go down Fun Street, are you not?
Let's do it. Absolutely.
All right, bro. First of all, share with the listeners what you shared with me as one of your all-time favorite movies.
Man, I love Braveheart, Lou. Just love that movie.
Why does that movie connect with you?
So I heard this guy say this one time. He said, hey, if you think of your favorite movie, he said, usually the reason why it's your favorite movie is because you see yourself as the main character. And so I don't know if that's a bunch of psychological mumbo jumbo or what, but it's just such a great movie. I love the aspect of fighting for his freedom, and then all the the leadership and the strength he shows and the courage to go after, and fight for a cause bigger than yourself. And then you got the pretty girl and I don't know, man. It just speaks to my heart, and I love the movie, and I could watch it over and over again. Have you ever read the book, Lou, by John Aldridge? And I believe it's called I can't even think of the book right now. It slipped my mind. John Aldridge, Wild at Heart.
Oh, yeah. I have, and I don't read that many books, but that's I do know it's a
great book. It's majority for probably men, but I think he says in that book that all men are searching for a journey to go on, a beauty to rescue, and a battle to fight, something like that. And that resonated with me. And maybe Braveheart has all that stuff. So I just love it.
That's it. Listeners also need to know he sees himself as the role. Yes, he's got half his face painted white with a little bit of blue stripes, and he's got a mullet down to the back of his back, and he's got a very large sword that he's throwing around.
That's awesome.
All right, so let's do the speed round here, Rich. I know you can handle it. I'm going to ask you things. These are things that lift you up, motivate you, make you feel good. They basically make you thrive.
Yeah, buddy.
Ready? Okay. Of late, a song you love to listen to, or maybe one that pumps you up.
Reckless Love of God.
Ooh, who performs that?
Man, something, Chris, you might be able to look it up right now. Forget what his name is. I'm a disclaimer, Joe. I'm a man of faith. I go to the gym, and that's like my favorite song, The Reckless Love of God. And I blast it, and it just makes my soul happy. And so I love it. But yeah,
I think for listeners who are interested in this, it's by Corey Ashbury.
There we go. Yes. Great song. All right.
Favorite food that is not a dessert?
Oh man, I love pasta.
Ooh,
love
favorite
pasta.
Dessert?
Ice cream.
What flavor?
Pistachio.
I like pistachio too, Rich.
Love
I'm a big
pistachio.
Big fan of that. An activity you wish you did more of?
Ooh. I would say tennis, man, to be honest with you. Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I love tennis.
You play a lot?
I don't play a lot, but every time I go to play, I love it. And I'm like, dude, I should do this more. But then I don't.
And that's hence the reason why I'd answer the question.
There you go. Yeah.
An activity you wish you did less of?
Holy smokes.
That's always the one that gets me.
That's a great question, man. Yeah. What's the activity I would love to do less of? You know what? Sometimes, man, I get in a funk and I start doing the scrolling through social media.
Yeah, do less of that.
Yeah, I do less of that, man. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I enjoy it because I get some good tidbits here and there, but I think we could do with less of that.
Gotcha. If I could snap my fingers, Rich, and you could be anywhere in the world, where are you?
Lou, that's a funny question, man, because I think I'd be right where I'm at right now.
That does not surprise me. This is a man in the present who's kicking on all cylinders all the time. This has been awesome, man. Hey, everybody, check it out. One Call Closers. Get motivated, get understood, find somebody that knows how to push this through. Thank you so much for coming on the program, man. Keep bringing that energy every single day. It's great to have you.
Appreciate you, Lou. This was awesome, man. Thanks so much.
You got it. And to all the listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.